Have you ever wondered what it feels like when an old mother has to depend on her children in her final years? Stay with me, because today we will listen to a moving story about love, sacrifice, and loneliness. Hello everyone. Welcome to King English Podcast. Today, I bring you a special story written by Zhao Nin and read for you in my voice. It is about an old woman named Lu, over 70 years old. She lives alone in the countryside with only one close friend, a man named Thin. After she left the hospital, her son suggested that she should sell her house and move to the city to live with one of them. The big question is, will this new life really bring peace to her? Let us find out together. The story begins one afternoon. Lu sat quietly while her three sons exchanged worried looks. They wanted to say something important to her, but no one dared to speak first. Finally, Tho and Lok both looked at Phoc, the eldest son. Because Phoc was always the closest to their mother, he had to speak. Phoc took a deep breath and said slowly, "Mother, I know you may be upset when I say this, but you are old now. We cannot let you live alone anymore. So we have been thinking that you should move to Tho's house. His wife has just given birth, so you can help take care of the baby. That way you will not be lonely. Also, the old house in the countryside is empty. If no one lives there, it will fall apart. The best thing is to sell it." After Phoc spoke, the car became silent. The sons expected their mother to be shocked or to resist the idea of selling her home. But Lu did not seem surprised. She had already thought about this. Slowly, she nodded and said, "That is fine. I agree to sell the house." The sons stared at her, confused. She smiled gently and explained, "Why should you be surprised? I am old and cannot take care of myself anymore. I only want to rely on my three sons for the little time I have left. I gave birth to you, I raised you, but I never demanded that you must take care of me or give me money. Now that I am near the end of my life, I only hope you can love me and care for me in these short days that remain." Her sons looked at her, tall and strong men, but they could not find the right words. They nodded quietly. What they did not know was that their mother's decision was not only because of her weak health. She also wanted to avoid meeting her old friend Thin again. When they reached Tho's house in the city, the sons wanted to make their mother feel happy. They called it a small celebration for her return from the hospital. In the city, everything was available, unlike the countryside, where cooking a simple meal took hours. Lu walked slowly, carefully, into her son's house. This was only the second time she had been here. The first time was when Tho bought the house, and she had not had time to look around. Now she could see every room. The house was not big, but it was neat and in the city. For her, that was already enough. When the meal was ready, everyone sat at the table. Just as they were about to eat, Tho's wife Bic came home from the hospital. She was carrying the baby and had her leg bandaged. Her face was not friendly when she saw her mother-in-law and the brothers eating together. Following her were her mother and younger sister, both carrying bags. Lu smiled politely and invited them to eat, but they refused. Bic's mother gave Tho a basket of clothes and scolded him. "You are the man of the house, yet you left everything undone. You should have prepared properly. There is not even herbal smoke for cleansing after childbirth." Tho tried to explain, "Mother, I was busy picking up my own mother from the hospital. She fell and broke her leg. The doctor said my wife would only return tomorrow, so I stayed at the hospital." But his wife ignored him, carried the baby into the room, and shut the door. Her mother and sister left immediately, without even sitting down to eat. Lu knew at once. Her presence here made things uncomfortable. She had not seen her youngest daughter-in-law often before, so she did not know her personality. But just one sharp look from Bick was enough to understand that this woman was not gentle at all. After the meal, the other sons left for work. Tho told his mother to rest and not worry about the dishes, but Lu insisted. She carefully collected every bowl and carried them to the sink. The path to the kitchen passed by Bick's room. Inside, Lu could hear her daughter-in-law complaining loudly. The food smelled strange. The baby might not like the milk. Maybe the rice was not cooked right. Lu wanted to help. She tried to explain to Bick about traditional food for new mothers. But before she finished speaking, Bick stood up angrily and went straight into her room, slamming the door. Lu was left outside, tears stinging her eyes. She knocked on the door, calling softly, but Bick refused to open. For Lu, she only wanted to share her old experiences. But to Bick, her words felt like criticism. When Tho came home, Bick quickly told him everything. She told him not to let his mother interfere in their childcare anymore. Times are different now, she said. We are not poor like before. We do not need old-fashioned advice. Later that night, Lu called her son Tho to sit down. She spoke gently. My child, I know since I came here, you and your wife have not been comfortable. I understand. I am a woman from the countryside. I only know simple ways. I do not understand modern things. Your baby is stronger now, and you two can manage by yourselves. Maybe I should go stay with Lok for a while. That would be easier, but her son answered coldly. Mother, do not pretend. You are not moving because you love my brother. You just want money. Everyone knows how this society works. If you have money, people respect you. If you do not, no one listens. Those words pierced Lu's heart, but she remained calm. At her age, having a place to stay was already a blessing. She told herself to accept it quietly. Time passed quickly. One day, something happened that broke Lu's heart again. She had secretly saved 5 million dong. It was not much, but it was all she had left. She planned to give it to her grandson for his school fees. She wanted the boy to study well, to have a better future. She kept the money carefully inside her pillow. But when the school year came, the money was gone. Lu searched everywhere, but she could not find it. She asked her grandson if he had seen the envelope. The boy looked at her and asked loudly, Did you take the money yourself, Grandma? Those words cut her like a knife. She had never stolen a single coin in her whole life. And now, her own grandson accused her. She felt her hands shaking. She wanted to speak, but no words came out. Her eyes filled with tears. When Bick heard the noise, she came into the room. She asked what happened. The boy quickly told her that the money disappeared. Bick's face changed immediately. She looked at Lu with cold eyes. She said quietly, but clearly, Mother, if you need money, you can tell us. You do not have to take it secretly. Lu froze. Her own daughter-in-law thought she stole. She wanted to scream, to defend herself, but she did not. She only lowered her head and whispered, I did not take it. Believe me, I wanted to give it to my grandson, but no one believed her. After that day, the house felt different. Every time Lu walked into a room, she felt eyes on her. Conversations stopped when she appeared. Even the children no longer came to sit near her. The warmth of family was gone. Later, she found out something that made her even more uneasy. Tho and Bick installed cameras around the house. At first, she thought they were for security. But there were too many. in the living room, in the kitchen, in the hallway, even near her bedroom door. One night, she asked Tho, "Son, why so many cameras?" Tho answered quickly, "Mother, it is for your safety. You are old. If you fall or get sick, we will see and help you right away." But in her heart, Lu knew the truth. These cameras were not to protect her. They were to watch her, to make sure she did not touch anything, to make sure she did not cause trouble. She felt like a prisoner inside her own son's house. A few weeks later, Bic told her that they had prepared a special place for her. At first, Lu thought maybe they wanted her to feel more comfortable. But when she followed them to the back of the house, her heart sank. Behind the main building was a small wooden shack. It was old, damp, and cold. The roof leaked in some corners. The window was tiny, and the door creaked loudly. Bic smiled and said, "This will be your room. You will have peace and quiet here. The baby will not disturb you." Lu stood still. She did not speak. She only walked slowly into the shack. She looked around and saw a thin bed and a small table. That was all. In that moment, she understood. They wanted to push her out of their lives. Little by little. At night, lying on the hard bed, she listened to the sound of the rain dripping through the roof. Drops of water fell on her blanket. She pulled the blanket over her head and cried. Quietly, her thoughts went back to her old house in the countryside. The small garden, the chickens, the bamboo fence, the smell of the earth after rain. She had left all of that behind because her sons told her it was better in the city. But now she knew. The countryside was poor, but it was her home. Here in the city, she had no home. One morning, she became very sick. The rain had soaked her bed, and she had a high fever. She tried to call out, but her voice was too weak. No one came. Finally, she pushed herself up and walked out to the street, shivering in the cold. She wandered aimlessly. People passed her by, but no one stopped. She felt like a shadow, invisible to the world. Finally, she remembered something. In her pocket, she still had a bracelet that Fok once gave her. He told her it was gold. Maybe she could sell it and use the money to return to the countryside. She found a small pawn shop and went inside. The owner looked at the bracelet, scratched it with a tool, and laughed. "This is fake. It is worth nothing." Lu felt her knees weaken. She held the bracelet tightly and walked out. She stood in the middle of the street, lost and broken. She realized the truth. Even the gift from her son was a lie. She returned to the shack in silence. No one asked where she had been. No one noticed her red eyes. She lay on the wet bed and closed her eyes. In her heart, she whispered to herself, "Maybe I should not have left my old house. Maybe I should have stayed with the earth, the garden, and the silence of the countryside." The city was supposed to give her warmth and family, but it gave her only coldness and tears. From that day on, Lu lived quietly in the shack. She rarely came into the main house. She only went in when she needed to wash clothes or to use the bathroom. Most of the time, she stayed alone on the thin bed, listening to the noises of the city outside the wall. Sometimes she thought of Thin, her old friend in the countryside. He had once told her that old age is not scary. What is scary is when children no longer treat you as family. At that time, she laughed and said he was too negative. But now, she realized he had been right all along. One evening, the rain poured heavily. Water leaked through the roof and fell directly onto her blanket. She tried to move the bed, but it was too heavy. The water dripped onto her hair and face. She sat in the dark, holding her knees to her chest, and cried silently. At that moment, she asked herself, why did I leave my house? Why did I trust my children so much? She had wanted to give them freedom. She had thought that living with them would mean being surrounded by love and warmth, but she was wrong. What she found was rejection. Later, she overheard Bick talking to her mother. The two women were in the kitchen. They did not know Lou was nearby. Bick said, I am tired of having her here. She makes the house heavy. If she stays longer, it will ruin our lives. Her mother replied. Then send her back to the countryside. Or find a way to place her in a home for the elderly. Lou froze when she heard those words. Her heart pounded painfully. A home for the elderly. She never imagined her life would end in such a place. She returned to her shack and sat in silence. Her hands trembled as she remembered the faces of her sons when they were little. She remembered cooking simple meals for them, watching them run barefoot across the fields, listening to their laughter. She gave them everything, her health, her youth, her love. And now, in her last days, she was treated as a burden. The next morning, she decided to do something. She found a piece of paper and a pen. With slow, shaky hands, she wrote a short letter. My dear sons, I am your mother. I do not need money. I do not need a big house. I do not need fancy clothes. I only need love. I only want to feel that I am still part of this family. I gave you life. I raised you. But now I am old, and I cannot raise myself. If you cannot love me anymore, then let me go back to my small house in the countryside. That place is broken, but it is still mine. When she finished writing, she folded the letter and placed it under those pillows. She did not want to argue. She did not want to shout. She only wanted them to understand her heart. But days passed, and no one mentioned the letter. It was as if no one had read it. Life in the house continued as usual. Bick looked at her with cold eyes. The children avoided her. And though remained silent, her health grew weaker. Sometimes she felt dizzy. Sometimes she forgot things. One afternoon, she fell while trying to carry a bucket of water. She lay on the floor, unable to move. Hours passed before anyone came. When Tho finally found her, he helped her back to the shack. But he said nothing. His face was tired, his eyes empty. In her heart, she knew. The bond between her and her children had already broken. One night, she dreamed of her old house. She saw the bamboo fence, the small pond, the chickens running in the yard. She saw Thin sitting under the tree, waving at her with a smile. She woke up with tears on her cheeks. She whispered to herself, maybe that is where I belong. Not here, not in this shack, but back in the place where my memories still live. From that day, she stopped hoping. She stopped waiting for love from her children. She accepted her loneliness. Every morning, she sat outside the shack, watching the sky slowly change color. She listened to the birds, the sound of cars, the voices of neighbors. And she thought quietly. Her life had been long. She had given everything to her children. But in the end, she realized something. Love cannot be forced. Gratitude cannot be demanded. What is given freely is precious. What is given out of duty is empty. In her heart, she forgave them. She whispered to herself, maybe they are too busy. Maybe they do not know how much I need them. I will not blame them. I will only pray that one day they understand. The story of Lou ends here. It is not a happy ending, but it is real. It shows us the truth of many elderly parents who give their whole life to their children, only to find themselves alone in the end. And maybe, as we listen, we should ask ourselves, how do we treat our parents? Do we see them as a burden, or do we see them as the roots of our life? This story is not only about one old mother, it is about all of us. About love, about gratitude, about family. So remember, one day we too will grow old. And what we give to our parents today will return to us in the future.